Hey guys, welcome back to Real Estate War Stories. I'm your host Felicia, aka your favorite home agent. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I have a special guest with me here today, Karina. Thank you so much for coming on. Karina's special because number one, she lets me use this beautiful studio. So anybody who's looking for a studio to record, we'll drop her info at the bottom. You guys can definitely reach out to her. I'm so excited to have her come on and share. So Karina, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, your title,
Yes.
where do you service, what do you do?
Okay, so my name is Karina Tom. I'm with First Equity National Title, Titan Studios. So I am also the Ultimate Title Girl on Instagram. So for whoever wants to follow me, I like to call myself the Ultimate Title Girl. I've been in this industry for over 27 years. I also am a national title insurance. So I live in
Wow.
group title. I literally fell into it when I was 18 years old. So
That's great.
don't count the years.
It's only a couple years. She's only like
a few
21,
years ago.
so.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm really excited to hear your story. So we're just gonna jump right in it. What is, and I'm sure you have a ton after all these years, what is the real estate war story that you wanna share today?
You know, I want to start like more recently. We went through a really crazy time. The pandemic was something that was so unexpected for us in this country. I mean, I don't even think most people in their lifetime had ever seen a pandemic like that. Mm-hmm. And so that created a lot of issues in the industry and also room for there to be potential fraud. So one story that I do remember that was a pretty crazy story, and it didn't end so well, but it was during the pandemic, people were not seeing each other in person, and there was a broker that got reached out to, and they reached out to them through Zoom. And so when they reached out to them, they said, hey, we have this property that was, in foreclosure, but now it's not in foreclosure. I guess they had, paid off some of the debt. And so now they were ready to sell it. And so when the client was, the broker was like, okay, sure, and the title search was ordered, they went to sell it. And so then when they went to sell it, they sold it to the broker, and then the broker went ahead and found a buyer. So now this buyer came, and so when the buyer came, that's when a title search was ordered, and then it was realized, so then everything was fine. Actually, everything was fine. They got, everything was reviewed. Everything matched up, whatever needed to be cleared up. They got to the closing, they went through the closing, but then once it closed, the people, there was a son. And so the son came up and said, wait a second, how was my parents' property sold? My parents are somewhere in another part of the country. So it turns out that there were these imposters that made up some fake IDs. They even got to the closing table, the IDs matched, there was a notary there, they made, they checked everything. But unfortunately, it came up to be a fraud case, and the police had to get involved and everything, and it was just, it was very unfortunate. But my title company had done their due diligence. Everything was they crossed their T's, they dotted their I's, everything seemed copacetic. But unfortunately, after the fact, the son that came up proved like these are the real homeowners, they're not here, the real owners, they're not here, they're in another part of the country, and these people that did this fraud got in trouble.
Do you know how the son ended up finding out that the house was
Because he saw
sale?
people moving in.
Oh my
So
God.
he would pass by. His parents, I guess, were not doing so well financially through the years, and they kind of had but they still were the rightful owners in essence. They just hadn't been able to catch up on the mortgage, but they still were the owners. And somebody even came in and paid off whatever was owed, and then they were able to reinstate it, and then they were able to sell it. And so when they were selling it, the new buyer came in, and unfortunately the buyer that bought it had to go to court because he ended up losing the house, and it was a claim, and it was all these issues that happened.
Wow. Do you know whatever ended up happening afterwards? Like what happened with that?
It went into the hands of the law, and it's unfortunate that there are some really bad people out there that would do things like that, but they did get caught.
So what piece of advice would you give to a buyer to maybe, I mean, this is not something that doesn't happen often.
No, in all the years.
Could prevent this from happening again, or any kind of advice?
What I would say that could prevent this from happening, these were extenuating circumstances because it was during the pandemic, and when a realtor sits, you see who's in front of you, but the IDs match, everything matched, and we were definitely off the hook. There was no issues with us. We didn't do anything wrong, but it was just a very extreme.
So there was no face to face because of COVID.
No,
Gotcha.
there was a Zoom face to face. But after that, it was just an extreme situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
If you want to give a piece of advice in general to maybe any business owners or anybody in the industry, whether that's lenders or real estate agents or anything that you think might be useful, what piece of advice would you give?
Always do your due diligence. I mean, it did show, like, as far as working with a reputable company, that's very important. We make sure that, the people that are on the contract are matching with the last deed of record at the county clerk's office. Clearance in my company is very, very thorough. We make sure that we go very thoroughly through the clearance. So just working with reputable people, whether it's an attorney, whether it's a lender, whether it's a title company, whenever you feel, even a realtor, right? Whenever you're working with someone, make sure that they have a good reputation and like they're doing things the right way. Sometimes if it's too good to be true also, you have to be leery of that because you want an instant gratification, but it might come back and bite you in the ass later on.
That's true.
I shouldn't probably say ass, sorry.
No, it's okay. You can say whatever you want on this channel. That's okay. That is.
Excuse my friend.
We've had worse on this series, so don't even worry about it. But that's great advice.
Yes.
If anybody that's following or listening today wants to reach out to you, I know you mentioned the Ultimate Title Girl.
Yes.
Is there any other social media that you would want to leave?
So yeah, just basically Instagram is my best go-to. I'm the Ultimate Title Girl. My contact information will definitely be listed. Even if it's just a question, I'm always here to help. Like I said, I've been doing this for many, many years, and even if I don't know the answer, the staff, the team at my company is excellent, and they really know the ins and outs of title. So even a lot of times when other title companies or other realtors or attorneys are going through something and they feel like they have to question what the title company's decision is, they do reach out and see what my company would do or my underwriters. And so it's always good to get a second opinion. So we're here for that also, even if it's just a question.
So Karina's a great resource if you have any questions about title, if you want to use her services. Also, for my realtors out there, if you're looking for a studio for content, please reach out to her as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, Felicia, always a pleasure. I love what you're doing with the war stories, and there's many more war stories that I may have as well. Every property has its story. Every transaction is, you'll see as you go on your way, it's always a different story, and we're here to help.
So you heard it here first. Just wait for the next war story. We'll have that coming out in the future. Guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe.